I kind of wanted to try something new today. I wrote out a little post, and it's, I kind of just thought it would make more sense spoken, so I'm just gonna try, like, making a little video, and then I'll post the, in the comments as well or something. Okay. Going from coffee shops to working in restaurants, I didn't really think about how I'd be working with more men. I think the fact that at least the places I worked, cafes, were mostly ran and staffed by young women had crossed my mind, and I'd sort of laughed to myself that maybe that made things easier in some significant ways. I'm a little nervous, but I didn't really anticipate how working with more men would impact me directly. And like 2-3 years later, yikes. So I've been sexually harassed, definitely, so trigger warning for that, but honestly my experiences are kind of on the minor side in terms of common experiences of femmes working in restaurants. I've heard cooks telling rape jokes and had other cooks tell me basically that's just how it is in kitchens. One manager cornered me, grabbed my hand, and rubbed it against his abs, which was fucking so nasty. And also mind-blowing to me how casually and unthinkingly he did it. And this was after months of him using me as a captive audience, occasionally bringing up his insecurities about whether women were attracted to him. I don't know if he thought I was gonna turn around and be like, oh my god, no, I think you're so attractive. I actually told higher management about both of those incidents, and I felt like they handled it well, and actually the creepy manager turned his shit around, which I 100% did not think was gonna happen. And again, my experience isn't really representative because many people can't jeopardize their job like that, or no, they won't be taken seriously or aren't taken seriously. But anyways, speaking to just my experience, it's the subtle, constant day-to-day shit that's weighed on me more. Like I was saying, the captive audience thing. So kind of my point is, I can tell when a guy doesn't see me as my own person. Cisgender guys specifically, for the most part. I quit a job I really liked otherwise because it wasn't worth spending a significant chunk of my day listening to the different male manager talk to me about himself. Dude knew I had to be at the host desk all day because that was my job, and would just come over and ramble about how impressive he was. And I'm just standing there responding oh, haha, as he goes on, and this is everyday remember. With him and with other male coworkers, I've learned to physically avoid them by finding tasks to do elsewhere if I see them coming around or once they start talking to me, but I shouldn't have to do that, and that was something I realized because it just felt kind of normal to me. So one coffee shop I worked in, it was a pretty small space behind the counter that I worked in specifically, and more so at night when there were less people around. Regular customers who had quickly started to feel comfortable with me would ramble at me there. One night, one customer felt like it was appropriate to talk to me about how I should try out bondage and order sex toys. Not appropriate. And another married customer came in once, not even to get coffee, just to ramble at me and tell me how it wouldn't be the end of the world if he cheated on his wife, and that he'd seen a lot of different women naked in his past job as a personal shopper. And I feel like in these guys' heads, they think they're impressing me. Fucking nasty. It makes a big difference, obviously, whether they're sexually harassing me or not, but I see this dynamic in those kind of nastier experiences, as I see that same dynamic, sort of them not seeing me as a person, like I was saying, that I see in the way a lot of men treat me. I think mostly I notice it at work because that's when I interact with men the most and have the least control over which men. Although in my current job, I know my managers would completely trust me if I needed to give a dude a smackdown. And I shouldn't feel lucky to have that, but in reality, I really, really am. But with all these dudes, I swear none of them hardly even would ask me how's it going or what I've been up to, never learned anything about me. Not that I even want to tell them, but I think it's kind of an indication of what's going on in their heads. Like, they're not thinking of me as a person. They're so wrapped up in their own ego. Who I am doesn't matter to them. I don't matter to them. Which I think is at least partially how they can act so dumb in front of me and think I won't realize what's going on. I mean, so I think that's at least partially how that, and then partially how they can be so fucking nasty to me, because I don't matter to them. And I don't know, I don't really have like a conclusion for y'all. I'm just trying to like push it out in the open for discussion and kind of help people understand what femmes deal with on the daily. And unfortunately, like, as shitty as this stuff is, I think it's probably, well, I know it's really relatable for a lot of people, and I think sometimes, like, hearing that other people deal with it too can be kind of comforting in a little dark way. So that's all, and bye.